All right, it's a very personal moment in a sense. I'm in a state of, cleaning out my car and my apartment. I've had some issues with my living situation, my apartment, where I was forced to leave due to repairs being made, and now I'm able to get back in. And in the meantime, my car has become kind of full of stuff because I've been staying in hotels and so forth. But one thing that was in my car was this very nice hoodie. I'm kind of at a crossroads right now because this hoodie, the emblem is Wrestling with Sanity. I had this hoodie designed myself, and that's an image of a pro wrestler who was scheduled to star in this project. And the project had no funding and no schedule, but it was really just something that I really put a lot of effort into, as they say, raising awareness. And part of my little campaign, I shouldn't diminish it, but I had these t-shirts and this hoodie in particular made that I would wear, and sent the wrestler himself a copy of the shirt, and other key members of the team had the shirts. And the idea was that if enough people wore enough of these shirts, there would be some type of mojo, some type of grassroots, hey, let's make this movie campaign. And this was, probably before things like GoFundMe and Indiegogo and Kickstarter were all the rage, and you could just fucking, I don't want to say beg, but ask people for money. And sometimes you get it, sometimes you wouldn't. But in my case, before that, crowdfunding was really a big deal, or at least before I knew about it. I was pushing this fucking movie for years and just tweaking the script, and made some nice short films that really actually were pretty good, very good actually, to promote the idea of this feature. Long story short, never made the fucking movie. Another issue, I'm not passing blame, but maybe I am, or sharing blame, is sometimes as a filmmaker, I would get into the habit of, collaborating with people that said they had an interest, but ultimately their interest was, if I were to get the movie made, they would like to be a part of it, not they were going to try to get the movie made with me, if that makes any sense. Or their efforts were kind of, if I got the ball rolling, they'd be there in one regard or another. But really just what I learned the hard way is a lot of times that type of, when you depend on other people to make decisions or to make meetings or make phone calls, a lot of times those phone calls, meetings, and decisions never get made and never happen. So if you kind of give up your power, so to speak, to someone else, or rely on them as a collaborative groupthink, a lot of times the other person, for many reasons, is not as emotionally invested as oneself. And the other kind of thing lurking in the shadows that I didn't know a lot of these times was that some of these supposed collaborators were off collaborating with someone else, collaborating in other projects that had nothing to do with me. And that's the nature of the beast. But I didn't know that at the time. See, I thought that this was something that I wrote, it was so powerful to me, and other people were fully on board. But what I didn't realize is that they might, have an interest, but ultimately they're not kept up at night fucking tweaking the script or writing an email. It's not as passionate as they might be, or as much as they might want it to happen for me. They're not going to make it fucking happen to the tilt that I tried and ultimately failed, and at least a failure as of now, because every once in a while you hear about these movies that were on the shelf for 10 years and they came back resurrected from the dead, or another project breaks for the fucking writer or the filmmaker or whoever, and suddenly there's interest. But today I'm at the point where I've had this hoodie for probably 8 or 9 years, and I'm just looking at it, I'm like, wow, I've worn this hoodie a lot. I've made an effort to lose some weight. I got some of that weight back. I still have, a net loss of my body composure. So this jersey, actually, it's one of these things where if I put a few more pounds on me, it'll fit great. If I lose a few more pounds, it'll be very loose. Right now, it could go either way. So in order to, as I just got out of the gym, I'm like, man, do I keep this hoodie? Do I fucking frame it on my wall? I mean, do I fucking wear it every day until I make this movie? Or do I put it in the fucking recycling bin? And so for a homeless person or someone down on their luck who might you get a really cool jersey out of this, my angst, my 9 years of grief is going to put somebody who needs a free jersey in a jersey. And I think that's what I'm going to do, because the reality is this project, which means so much to me, Wrestling with Sanity, and at times I've experimented with changing the title. But it really is a very personal project, and it's not something I've given up on, but there's definitely changes that need to be made. In order for it to happen, there would be a lot of changes with my approach or the scripts or whatever. And so anyone associated with the project in the past may not even recognize that whatever comes of it, if it does happen in any regard, won't be the same fucking thing. It would just be a different animal. And that's just something that hurts as well, because the animal that I had in mind originally, which other people kind of, if they share that vision or not, they probably... and hopefully I'm still on camera as I'm talking. Yeah, I think I am. But if they share that vision, my mind's eye, they probably liked what it was. So if it changes the script or whatever, it may not be the same thing. But sometimes, 9 years later, whatever I had in mind isn't really applicable now. That movie doesn't exist, or it exists in some alternate universe. What I have now is a fucking jersey that's clogging up my car, and a lot of clothes I'm going to put in this recycling bin and put in this jersey. But as you can see, the apprehension is that a big part of me is still stuck as a writer, having, slaved, I'll use that term in this context, over that screenplay for so many fucking years. And now just kind of saying, well, for whatever reason, this time and place wasn't ready for it, or didn't want it, or didn't want me, or I didn't try hard enough, or whatever the fuck reason. Got to move on at some point, and to give this fucking script a life, I have to just kind of, give it up a little bit in this jersey. Like, it has to just be fucking, I just can't look at it anymore, and guess what? I have another one, because I had 2 of them made. But at least this one, which it's actually not even stained up or anything. I thought I had coffee stains on this thing. I actually don't. So the jersey does not have any fucking visible stains. It does have a missing... They used to have a nice rope for the hoodie section. So forth and so on. Like, the rope used to be there, but now the rope is gone. So it's like a hoodie without a rope, without a drawstring for the neck. So this type of video, if this movie ever gets made before I fucking die, might be a good chronicalization. Like, oh, this is the moment that Messier threw away that original hoodie. Or it might be like, who gives a fuck, but the movie, to talk about it, Wrestling with Sanity, the original story is about an uncle and a nephew who go to a pro wrestling match, and there's I don't want to give away too much, but basically something happens, and a trigger effect in a parallel universe becomes apparent in the fucking world of this uncle and nephew who are into wrestling. That's about all I'll say. But Wrestling with Sanity, the escapism of pro wrestling entertainment with the anguish of mental illness. That was the other tagline I used to have. And and the reality is, some of the people that were going to be involved with it have even passed away. Ox Baker, I had a great role for Ox Baker, a friend of mine. He passed away before the movie ever get made. So, that's when people say, well, why don't you just make the movie the way it's supposed to be made? Well, because people have died. You know what I mean? So you can't... That's the hardcore reason. So this might be a hard fucking lesson for anyone out there who's thought about making a movie or building a house or any type of project that takes time, effort, money, whatever the fuck, resources, collaboration. Who are you collaborating with? Can you trust them to care as much as you do? The reality is, this is the painful fucking lesson. 9 years come and go. I've done a bunch of other projects. A bunch of other projects have happened, and my fucking movie that I cared so much about hasn't fucking happened. And at some point, you find yourself in a fucking car in the middle of Rhode Island throwing a fucking hoodie in the recycling bin. Because whatever plans, and I shouldn't say you, it's me, whatever plans I had didn't happen. And so here I am. So I want to take this fucking stack of clothes, and just put this in the goddamn recycling bin. And maybe in some fucking way, that's a signal to the gods that I'm allowing... And I sound like some fucking asshole on Facebook, but I'll just say it. Allowing the possibility that this movie has a different life now. Like, it's just, okay, I've given up on that possibility of what the movie was and opening up the possibility for what this movie can be. Because the script is still there. The ideas, the concepts, the words on the paper, 90-page script, it still exists. But some of the elements... the personnel, whatever, the logistics are not the same, But maybe that's for the better. Maybe there's a better possibility for this fucking movie. 9 years later, I'm a little more established, or more, or whatever the fuck. So that's it. So let's go fucking recycle this goddamn jersey. Hopefully there's not a bunch of fucking assholes watching this fucking ceremony. What it is, I guess I'm doing this for those of you who do right things or whatever the fuck. Sometimes we have that expression, kill your fucking babies, whatever the fuck it is. It's such a brutal expression, which is not to be taken literally, folks. Kill your darlings, I think it is, whatever the fuck. But I'm going over, this is to the big brothers, big sisters of the ocean state. So if some kid is a size 3XL. Now I'm putting the other clothes in first. I have this nice Abe Lincoln I have this Abe Lincoln jersey or t-shirt that everyone really likes, but I've actually, like you can see, I've worn it so much. It's Abe Lincoln. It says drop beats, not bombs, and everyone gets a giggle out of it. But I just feel like, just some other shit. Well, these pants I didn't want to throw in there. This shirt's like a wrestler's shirt that I don't really like. This camouflage shirt was in the film Anders Manor, but got a lot of fake blood. These gym pants are actually pretty good for the winter, but I just don't like them. Right. This New England Patriots hat's gonna be, some kid will love that, but that's not exactly a Babe Magnet shirt. This shirt sucks. So we're gonna throw away the other fucking my goddamn phone and putting all this shit. I shouldn't even say shit, but just stuff. All right. Now here it comes. The ceremony, folks. I mean, just don't look back in anger. The shirt. It's gonna have a nice voyage. I'm saying goodbye to the shirt. I mean, I do have another one, but say goodbye to this one. So I mean, just trying to support the kids. And there it is. It's gone. I couldn't get it now if I tried. So, how do I feel? I feel a little relieved. I mean, I feel like a little bit of a burden is out of my system, a little lighter in my step. Obviously, I'm gonna get rid of some other clothes while I'm at it. Just, clothes that really are just kind of hogging up my fucking car in here. Stuff that just, I know what I want and I know what I don't. But just kind of, realizing, hey, look, life is short, and these projects, I had a film, a guy that I know in the film industry, Jim Germanic, would talk about this type of stuff. Like when you're working on a project for years and years, and no matter how hard you work on it, it doesn't seem to happen. And Jim would say, sometimes you have to forgive yourself and move on, and it's a painful thing because as screenwriters, as fucking filmmakers, you don't have a book or you don't have a book or a guideline source to say, hey, two years into this project, 10 years into this project, 20 years into this project, it'll happen, or it won't. So there's no one there to tell you or to guide you into what to expect or what to think about. I don't know if this makes any sense, but the point is there's no one who's going to, tell you when to quit on a project. Maybe you never quit in some way, but, and look, there's even a Wrestling with Sanity t-shirt, and I think that's a size 4X, and we're gonna, because I was actually up to a 4X when I got that made, so I think I'm gonna get rid of that too. Am I looking at myself or? Right, so I'm gonna get rid of this one, this t-shirt, but it's like, no one tells you as a filmmaker when to let a project go or when to drop a certain element of your fucking whatever the fuck. So as film people, or it could be anyone really, but as film in this particular case, no one tells you when to stop. you have to make that decision on your own. And that's a tough decision, you know, because you don't know. You don't know when is enough or when's not enough. And this is a very specific thing. It's like, when does a screenplay or a film project seem to lose so much momentum it's not even worth fighting for anymore, or you have to just take a break from it or let someone else to do it. But in my case, there's really no one else to do it. You know what I mean? And that's what I was saying before. I used to have these supposed collaborators who really were just kind of hedging their bets or spreading their wealth of time or whatever the fuck. And, you know, blah, blah, blah. And of course, there's always some asshole that's going to say, well, why don't you speak to such and such? And for years and years in Rhode Island, it was always, why don't you speak to the Farley brothers? I'm like, oh, well, I don't know them. And when I write to them, they don't respond. So that was always the answer to that. Then, of course, you'd always have the fucks that said, well, I played soccer with Peter Farley when I was 5. Oh, you got his number? Of course I do. He comes over for Thanksgiving every year. And then they would never fucking make the introduction and blah, blah, blah. So, that all being said, all this bitterness and anger. But as you can see, I'm taking all these shirts and things tell a story. And the story that they're all going to tell right now is, like, even this blanket that I kind of still like, but they're all going to go to the recycling bin, because these are just clothes and things that I've held on to. Like, even this shirt, it's kind of nice. There's a dog barking at me. Someone left their dog in the car. This shirt I'll take. This shirt shouldn't have to suffer. But everything else, I'm just going to let go. You know, sometimes you do have to do that. Like these blue shirts, they're kind of like those shirts that you don't really like, but sometimes you have to wear a shirt for a special occasion. But all this stuff is just going bye-bye. This dog's getting very excited. Alright, dog, let me see you. So, that's it. It's Mike Messier. I don't know if this fucking story time has helped anyone but me. You know, here's a fucking sock. But, I kind of like this sock, but I can't find the other one. A little life hack for you. Especially for guys. I buy the same type of sock, like the same brand, the same size of sock, same color, black. I have about 30 pairs of the same sock. Do you say socks or sock? The reason why is because in days gone by, and this is the sock. It's a big and tall Dr. Scholl's black sock, okay? And I have about 30 pairs of those fucking things. The reason why is because now I don't get flustered when I'm trying to put a pair of socks together, because all my socks are the same. I used to have all these mismatched socks, and I would spend fucking minutes a day and hours a month trying to fucking figure out how to get a pair of socks together. Well, now I have all the same sock. And if I get confused, or not confused, but if I run out of socks and I need them in a jiffy, or in a hurry, I go to fucking Walmart. Yes, Walmart. Sorry, fucking people. And I buy the Dr. Scholl's big and tall, extra fucking large sock. So if you're a friend of mine in real life, if you want to surprise me, give me a fucking pair of socks. Or they come in a 2-pack for about $8. The big and tall is the key, and the black color is the key. I just started getting black socks. It became my thing. Because black socks hold up with time better, because they're not privy to stains because they're black. So that's it. Free your shirts, free your merch, so to speak, your merchandise. Free yourself. You know, if years and years have gone on, sometimes you just got to give it up and just say, let the gods of fate or film or the god of reality or whatever the fuck take over and see what the hell happens. It's Mike Messier with your Messier fucking experience.